Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast, where I, your host, Charles Long, and my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, and gunner, Jacob Gloth, pitch brand new TV shows each week. How are you doing today, Jacob?
I am contento, Charles.
Contento? Ooh, that's good. What's that, Spanish?
Yep.
God, the Spanish.
It's Portuguese, actually.
Those Portuguese. They have a beautiful language for beautiful people.
Okay.
My show that I'm pitching is titled, it actually has a title. It's called Far From the Tree, right?
Oh.
Yeah, and it's about the...
So vague and mysterious.
Yeah, it's great. It's about the son of an eccentric cult filmmaker who is hunted across the world by a gang of assassins. Right?
Okay.
So this character, the son of the eccentric filmmaker, his name is Leopold Strauss, and currently he is living in New York City working as a freelance film critic and writer. He works anonymously because he, spent his entire childhood being pestered by the media, so he works, under a pseudonym. He stays inside most of the time. He has severe social anxiety and, depression because of his, his entire childhood basically being spent in front of a camera. Because his mother, the filmmaker, this eccentric filmmaker, was eccentric and weird in a lot of different ways, and I based her very much off of Alexandra Jodorowsky, who I was talking about before in the cold open, who, when he was...
That was probably cut out.
Oh, okay, well, that's fine. I talked about him. He's a cult filmmaker, and he was...
You didn't hear us talk about him, but, he did.
Yeah, he did. And he was going to make Dune, and he decided that in order to make Dune properly, he was going to cast his son as Paul Atreides. So for 2 years, his son was taught karate and martial arts and all of the skills that Paul Atreides has.
Okay.
When he was 12. He's a very weird man. So this guy, Leopold Strauss, was cast as the main protagonist of all of his mom's films, and she only made 4 films that were released to the public, right? She made a Western, she made a sci-fi movie, she made a pirate movie, and she made a musical biopic. So each one of those movies, Leopold learned a skill, right? So from the Western, he learned to be a great, gunfighter. He's a great shot. From the sci-fi movie, he learned, space kung fu, but it's basically just kung fu, From the pirate film, he learned swordplay, and from the musical biopic, he learned how to play guitar, right?
Yeah.
So, his mom died, the eccentric filmmaker. I didn't think of a name for her. Let's just call her Triana Strauss. Triana Strauss died 5 years ago, and he's been living quietly. Leopold has been living quietly off somewhat of the money that he made and that his mom made because of the films, but also, working for himself. And, first episode starts, he's just living at home, living his solitary life with his birds. He's got a parrot from the pirate film, which is called Hooks of the Sea. That's what it's called.
Oh.
And it's the parrot that he had to train with to work on the pirate film. So yeah. He and this parrot have kind of they have a relationship because they've known each other for years. Because parrots can live for ever. They're very long-lived animals.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So he is when he's living at home, taking care of his parrot. Maybe he's going outside once a day in order to get some fresh air, and it's because something his therapist said, right? This guy is very neurotic and very isolated, and he just he's doing his stuff, and then he's attacked by this gang of mercenaries, and this is kind of an action series but also a bit of a comedy series. So all of these mercenaries speak... Do you know what Scots is? Scots is the native language of Scotland. It's spoke by, the people who lived in Scotland before the English took over.
Yeah.
And so all of the mercenaries that come to kidnap him, or he thinks that they're here to kill him, but they're actually here to kidnap him, all of them...
Oh, big reveal.
Yeah, they only speak in Scots, which is, it's kind of like English, so you might be able to understand a bit of it, but it's also very difficult to understand, because they're all speaking it. So, you know, he's, this guy, Leopold, he's shown to be kind of like a weakling little baby man, but then these 3 huge mercenaries come to kill him, or these 4 huge mercenaries come to kill him, and he just goes full John Wick on them and just like absolutely kicks the shit out of all of them. He kills 3 of them and like tosses hot oil into the face of one of them, because this is set up like a classic film. So this
where the last one gets scarred and comes back later.
Yeah, he comes back as like the mini boss of this series, right?
Hot oil man.
Yes, you know, he's got a big scar. It's like, I guess it can be.
He looks like Viserys Targaryen after he gets melted his face with gold in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, but he's still alive, and he's like, "What's good?"
Yep.
But he says
Gold
it
face hole.
in Scots. Face hole. That's a good name for him. Because it's like a James Bond villain.
Yeah. Gold face.
Gold face.
What is it, brass that is on his face? Brass face, it probably would be.
Probably. Something like that.
Or brass head, something like it. You just have like the name of the thing and then
name of a
where
body
it's
part.
on.
Yeah.
That's James Bond.
That's every James Bond villain. Goldfinger. Dr. No. He got a big no written on his doctorate. That's why they call him Dr. No. Jaws. What's another one? Who's the really short guy? With the hat?
Short Round from Indiana Jones.
Short Round from Indiana Jones. He's a...
Did you know that Short Round from Indiana Jones, here's a fun fact for you.
Oh, fun facts for me.
Is the husband in Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I did not know that, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that guy. I love Short Round, and I heard a pitch for the next Indiana Jones movie that's like, it should be Indiana Jones teams up with Short Round and they go on an adventure, but Short Round's grown up, and he's like, hey, you made me like kill a man when I was 10 and like said all these racist things to me, what the fuck? And Indiana Jones is like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be...
Well, he just switches to Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
He's like, leave me alone.
Yeah,
I just read the script.
give me some pot.
Is that a plane? Let's fly it.
Let's fly it into a mountain. Quick, is that a Millennium Falcon? Drop it on my leg. Break it in half. I don't want to be in these movies anymore. Yeah. So, this guy, Leopold, he kills three of the 4 guys and leaves the 4th guy whole face whole to, you know, writhe in agony. And he takes a piece of paper out of one of their pockets and he's like, it's got a location in the city. So he's like, oh, these are the guys, like they've sent the people at this location sent these guys to kill me. So I'm going to go there and figure out what the hell's going on. And so he goes there and finds out that it's actually this address that he finds is the address of this young lady who is a film collector. She collects antique film memorabilia and stuff like that, like rare film things.
Oh.
And her name is Sarah Nail.
Nail, like your nails?
Yeah, like Nail.
Okay.
Or we could have it Naul, which Nauil. But she is an outgoing film buff. She's happy-go-lucky, hopeful, and naive, and she doesn't have any like combat skills. But she's like has an encyclopedic knowledge of like classic and contemporary films, and she's like all about this sort of stuff. So he goes there and they figure out, they use, you know, their skills to figure out that actually what this band of mercenaries was looking for was this mysterious print of what's her name? Triana Strauss' first film, which was never released.
So his mom.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
This film that he didn't star in and didn't even know about that she made before she had him, and it was like this is supposedly her lost masterpiece, and is this amazing piece of like film history that will sell for millions of dollars if in the hands of the right, antiques collector and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So the assassins figured, well, she's dead. Next best person to ask is her son, and if he doesn't know, we'll go to a film antiques collector, and she might know.
They could have asked him first.
Yeah, they could have, but it's a TV show. It's fun. It's a TV show. It's meant to be fun.
You might want to, in the pilot episode, have somebody ask him about it, and he'll say no. Because it feels reasonable for them to first ask him about it.
Yeah.
And then, because they, like rich, evil people, right? They'll first try to pay for it. If they can't pay for it, then they'll kill you for it.
Yeah. Or maybe he's like
or like just try to figure out if he has it in the first place. They know if they got to rob him or not.
Maybe we'll have it a subplot, or not subplot, but like at the beginning for the first like 10 minutes, we see that he's getting like these reoccurring emails from the same mysterious email address that keeps asking about his mother's work and like this film that he's never heard of, and he thinks that it's just some crazed fan online.
Yeah.
And then we find out it's actually this mysterious benefactor who lives, I imagined the guy who's like trying to get this print, he lives in like Russia, and he's one of those like Russian oligarchs who has like a huge mansion and like 60, acres of land and like dozens of pools and cars and wives and stuff. One of those guys.
If you want to go full James Bond, he's in the middle of the Pacific Ocean on an uncharted island.
Oh, that would be good, actually. Yes, actually, 100%. He's in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. No, he's in Hawaii. So I have, after he finds out that they're looking for this mysterious print, I have written here, so the globe-trotting adventure begins, right? So with a mixture of, what's her name? Sarah and Leopold's skills of kung fu, gunfighting, and like movie knowledge, and like detective skills, they are able to track this like set of clues that his mother left behind for him after she died, right? Because she's this crazy, eccentric filmmaker. So I have it like the first place they go is a ranch in Idaho.
Is this a Tomb Raider, but his mom is a filmmaker?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, a little
like.
bit. They go to a ranch in Idaho, and it's like they go to all of the places where the films that she made or was going to make were like set.
Yeah.
Right? So like the ranch where they shot the Western, they go there, they meet some more dudes, they find some clues, they maybe do a horseback fight. That sort of thing. We could do a sword fight, but they're on horseback, and Sarah's like driving the horse while he's like sword fighting with people.
Episode ends with a town duel.
Yes.
And he's like, I took gunslinging, and like he wipes out the dude, and Sarah's like, how did you do that? And he's like, when I was like 8, my mom made me take like
made me train with the like Olympic,
like a year-long class about gunslinging.
Yeah, she made me train with like Olympic sharpshooters. Like I'm really good at this stuff.
Yeah.
But throughout the entire show, Leopold is kind of dealing with his social anxiety because he's absolutely terrified of the outside world, and he's done a lot of work to try and like make himself just another member of the public, right? Like he's trying to disappear from the public eye. So he's scared that like this whole situation will bring him back into the public eye, and he'll never get like any peace. He'll always be like annoyed and pestered by like paparazzi and fans and stuff.
Paparazzi, yeah.
So it's kind of he's staying under the radar for both of those reasons, and Sarah's just kind of fangirling the whole time because she's, this guy was in some of the greatest movies ever made when he was a child. And, his mom is popularly considered to be one of the most influential, like, auteur film directors ever. Like, she's kind of, she's like David Lynch level of, like, impact and importance in, like, the film scene.
Yeah.
So, like, all the fancy art school kids know her, but also they're people who just like see movies every once in a while, who know her, and they're like, yeah, I saw her like, Star Wars ripoff when I was in when I was a kid in theaters. It was great. You know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, second like location where they have to go is a replica pyramid in New Mexico, right? So I'm thinking it would be funny if you had a bunch of New Mexicans, because there's a bunch of pyramids in Mexico that the Mexicans built. So I think it'd be funny if you had a bunch of Mexicans who had built this pyramid as well. Or not, maybe they didn't build it, but like a bunch of Mexicans have the, what do you call it? Like they do the tours, but it's an Egyptian style pyramid. Because it's a movie set. So they were going to make like an Egyptian movie. But they've just built this pyramid in New Mexico and it's not gone anywhere. So they just do tours now. And then there's like secretly hidden within one of the, beams, there's like another clue. And it's like all this globe-trotting stuff. Because the next spot, the next place that they're going is a fantasy village in Japan. It's kind of like Hobbiton in New Zealand, right?
Yeah.
I was going to do it in New Zealand, but then I was like, that's just, that's too on the nose. So it's like a weird Western fantasy setting, like Lord of the Rings sort of setting, but it's all...
You make it like Japanese fantasy, so you have like samurais and stuff.
Well, I just think it would be funny...
Cool dragons.
Not funny.
Not the winged dragons, like the flying...
The long ones.
Snake-like dragons. Those are cool.
The big long ones. That is cool. I changed my mind. I want Japanese fantasy with the big long dragons. And then we can have Leopold and Sarah ride one of the dragons. It's like a
robot dragon, like they did the full like mechanical Jaws thing.
Yeah.
Like they did with the Jaws movies, except it looks good and it's a giant dragon.
Yeah, and they use it, and because his mom was so crazy, it's like it actually shoots fire out of its face. So he like sets a bunch of guys on fire, Yeah. Because they're fighting, they're loving, and it's great. And then the next clue,
and she's like, wait, it was real fire in the movie, and he's like, yeah, mom really wasn't big on the whole CGI thing.
She was all in on the practical effects, real pyrotechnics. No blanks. We used real bullets in this.
Studio gave her a big budget.
Man, I shot so many people. You don't even know. It's crazy.
They had bulletproof vests on.
Yeah. It was the 70s. It was a different time, all right? The 70s? These movies were made in the 90s. It was a different time. But the next location, the next clue, leads them to the location where she was going to make a horror movie, but never managed to make it. Like, she died before she was able to make it. So it's this abandoned mine set in Australia. It's in, like, the Australian outback. And it's this, like... It was built to be an abandoned mine. So it's, like, built shabbily. Built to look shabby, but it actually works fine. But it's, over the years, become, like, infested with Australian critters and giant, spiders the size of your head and, coyotes and all this stuff. Do they have coyotes in Australia?
Yeah.
Wallabies. Is that an Australian animal? I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Are you kidding me?
I didn't know if wallaby was an animal or a name, alright? So, for that episode in the abandoned mine, we could do, like, kind of a horror movie spoof sort of thing, where Leopold has, like, finally embraced his, action movie protagonist sort of nature, and he's...
Okay.
Or we could have it be, like, he's, he becomes much more comfortable when he's got a mask on, because he can hide his face.
Oh, so, okay, that's a good actor thing, so that makes sense.
So he, puts on, like, he finds a horror movie mask that was, like, hidden, or just, like, in the prop somewhere, and he's, like, starts horror movie murdering all of this, like, big band of, like, 20 mercenaries that have come to, like, kidnap him. Because now, now the mercenaries and the big, and Leopold and the, big bad all know that, like, they're looking for the same thing. And so, he kills all these guys, they find the next clue, and obviously we can do something different with each clue. It could be like, there's a voice recording, maybe there's a, a Morse code message, somewhere or something like that. That sort of thing. Clues are fun.
Yeah.
And then I'm debating, should they go to the Eiffel Tower? Because I think it would be fun if they go to the Eiffel Tower and we can have a fun Eiffel Tower fight scene. But also, it's a little Rush Hour 3, don't you think? It's a little Rush Hour 3.
Maybe.
Maybe
too many places.
Yeah, it might be a little bit too on the nose if they go to the Eiffel Tower. So we could think of another location for them to go, like Mount Rushmore. Oh yeah, they should go to Mount Rushmore. That would be fun because it's like,
and they gotta find the hidden treasure behind George Washington's face.
Yeah, well, it's like North by Northwest.
And they get there, and Nicolas Cage is there.
Yeah.
It's like, the national treasure.
And they start making out. That's great.
And then he's like, did you see The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent? And they're like,
No.
It's like, it's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Check it out.
I play
Pedro Pascal.
I play
It's
me.
funny.
Did you see it? Is it good?
It is good.
Oh, good.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen any movies since Dune 2 days ago. But they get either the second to last or the final clue in Australia, and then they find out that, of course, this is a piece of movie making history. Where would be the most logical place for it to be, right? What place?
L.A.
Exactly. Hollywood. L.A. That was exactly what I was gonna say.
No, I thought this was a misdirection.
No, it's actually in L.A. So it's like they have to figure out.
It's in his apartment. That's where it was all along.
Even
in a box of stuff that says "stuff from mom."
Secret mom stuff, secret mom film stuff. Even more on the nose than that. Because she was such an eccentric filmmaker, she had a lot of people who would do stuff for her, and then it wouldn't get leaked. She had people that she trusted, so details of her films as well as her social life and personal life didn't get leaked.
Yeah, because she killed everyone.
But
yep.
She had her first film, which she didn't think was very good, but has been praised as this unseen masterpiece, the final piece, her fifth film, and the greatest of the five. She had it entombed in her Hollywood star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Oh my god.
It's underneath the star itself.
They've got to heist the Hollywood star.
And it's there's this big construction crew of the mercenaries, and they're doing it, and then there's we can have Leopold and Sarah underneath in the sewers, and they're undoing the concrete from the bottom,
Yeah.
and we could have it be a big heist, and that would be fun. And then there's a final confrontation, because now that they know that the Hollywood star now that they know that the film is in the Hollywood star, the film buff main bad guy is I'm not just gonna send these fucking buffoons who keep getting murdered by this weakling little film critic prick. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get it myself. So there's a final confrontation between Leopold, Sarah, and this guy who I haven't thought of a name for. Let's give him a super villainous name, Count
Victor Vazanov.
Count Vazanov. That's good. Count Vazanov? Yeah.
Count Victor Vazanov.
Yeah, Count Victor Vazanov. Count Victor Vazanov. Yeah. And it's not spelled how you think it would be. There's an F in it. In Victor.
Oh,
yeah.
Vazanov.
Yeah.
Oh. And Victor? Victor.
Victor. Yep. Austin Victor. Count Victor Vasimov is he's got it, and then they've got it, and then he's got it again, and it's a kind of a sports almanac in Back to the Future Part 2, where it's it keeps getting switched out for different things, and there's a whole fun chase scene where it's oh, Sarah's got it, and then she frisbees it to Leopold, but oh,
Somebody else catches it.
Facehole caught it, and then he's running with it, and now Facehole's been shot in the back by Leo, but then, Victor got it, and then it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
And I think it would be very good to have the final confrontation be in front of the Hollywood, sign. But, if you can think of a better place for it to be, that would be good. Maybe it could be in the...
How would they get there? So they would probably have to...
Motorcycles.
Motorcycles.
Maybe somebody's got, like, those wings. What do you call them? Those like, glider wings.
Like a wingsuit?
Yeah.
Or like a...
Either or.
Like the big one.
The
parasailing.
No, it's not parasailing, but it's something. Yeah, they have that.
Something glide. Right.
Gliding, big back wings that you hold a big bar, and you fly with them. And so there's this big confrontation. We do a cool, like, one take shot of, like, a big kung fu fight between Victor and Leo, because Victor has studied every, move he made on the kung fu, on the, space kung fu movie, and, like, he studied all of the what do you call it, behind the scenes and everything, so he knows what he's gonna do. He's like, well, I bet you didn't know this, and then he, Sarah shoots him or something, something anticlimactic that would never happen in a movie, right? Because I'm trying to make this series it's about film, and it's very much a film heavy series that's all about, like, calling back to, tropes and characters of the past, but also subverting them in ways that you wouldn't expect, like them.
But see, that's already been done. That's subversion, right?
Yeah.
Like Indiana Jones shooting the guy with a sword.
Yeah.
It's already been done.
That's already been done. So maybe.
So you have to subvert the subversion.
A wild cougar just jumps out of nowhere.
Jumps out and eats him.
Yeah, just rips his face off and then, like, runs away.
Maybe it's his. Yeah.
Or the parrot.
No, just complete Deus Ex Machina. There's no link to the parrot, or it's not the parrot. It's like, something that was not part of the movies or TV show at all. Mm-hmm. Something just out of the randomness of the world comes in and kills him.
Yeah, or like puts him on the ground, and then
the cops show up and arrest them all. That would be good.
That would be good. Well, I think, but then
that'd be great anticlimax Monty Python style ending, which isn't cliche, because I feel like it's not been done very much.
Yeah, that's right. You're right. Maybe the cops come and arrest them, or maybe it's revealed they're all just like lunatics. But it would be
they all get arrested, and the cops confiscate the movie and lose it in evidence.
Yeah.
And it's just gone.
No, yeah, that'd be fun. I'd be okay with that.
They mislabeled it, so it's just forever in the back of.
And then it's like revealed that it was a movie that was released. It was just released under a different name. What would be a good movie for it to be? Like a bad film that they're like, oh my god, this...
Bad Boys 2.
Yes! Oh my god, I would love that if it was Bad Boys 2. Bad Boys get badder.
Yep. What was your actual plan?
Well, my actual plan was to have them, like, the cougar jumps out or rips his face off or something, like, puts him on the ground, and then, Leo walks over him and he holds the gun to his head, and it's like Count Victor's on the ground. He's like, I don't understand. I planned everything, This isn't how the story's supposed to end. And then Leopold's is like, sorry, bud, but this isn't a movie. This is real life. Blam! And just blows his brains out all over the floor. So I think that would be a good ending if it's like, this isn't a movie. This is real life. Mm-hmm. And
yeah, I like that.
And then there's no, like, I don't want Leopold to get all of the closure that he needs. Like, he still needs to be kind of fucked up by the end of this. Because he's, murdered probably 60 people throughout this entire series. Most of them with his bare hands. And, now Sarah is, like, disillusioned with all of this because she's slowly seen one of her, like, biggest inspirations and heroes just reveal himself to be kind of, like, this psychotic, killer who is, like, ruined by this industry that she held so dear, right? So they both go back to their lives, and, like, he has a special thing with the government, maybe, or something like that. He's like, I want my anonymity, and you can have the film. and I'll give you all of Victor Vaznov's assets, right? I have access to them, and I'll hand them over to you willingly, but I want my anonymity, and I want Sarah to be left alone. And they're like, okay. And so, they all go back to their lives, and maybe Sarah decides that she wants to give up being, like, dedicating her entire life to film. Like, she needs to stop focusing on, fiction and falsehoods, and she needs to focus on, like, real life, like the real relationships.
Wait, is the moral of the story that movies suck? Is that the the moral?
That's not the moral of the story, but it's certainly part of it. The moral of the story is kind of like, fiction is great, escapism is great, but also escapism kind of creates some of its own problems. So maybe just sometimes, instead of watching Dune or Star Wars or something, just like watch a documentary or something.
That's an interesting message to try to put in this. I don't know, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I don't know if
it's weird.
That's strange.
And maybe it's not fully formed, but that's kind of...
Here's where I thought you were going. I don't know if you're interested to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought there would be something about him and his mom having a bad relationship, and that final film would sort of just be his mom.
Oh, that would be good.
Like, talking to her son, sort of apologizing for how she made him like the big... And then instead, the TV show would sort of be a focus on like the damage that child stardom does to people.
That is a good,
and like it'd be her apologizing and sort of repairing the damage.
Yeah.
That she did to her son through an apology.
I like that.
And maybe it doesn't fix him, but at least he knows his mom cares about him.
His mom cared about him more than just being the protagonist of her films. And that's a better reveal than it just being like Bad Boys 2. It's actually, the film is actually all of her, like, most cherished memories of his childhood.
That would be nice, yeah, just like a montage
of like,
his childhood.
Him, training with the kung fu, but she's, like, they're playing.
But she's there, and she's watching, and she's clapping, and then afterwards they go for ice cream or something.
Yeah.
It's all the parts around it, not, like, the training and stuff.
Yeah, because, we could have two themes. Sarah's, like... character development could be like, maybe I need to stop focusing so much on fiction and focus like on real life, because real life is
it could be her learning to not focus on, because I don't know if that's a great message either. It should be her focusing on not obsessing over the actors, and like because that's the thing, that's a problem in real life. You have like paparazzi and stuff like that, so not obsessing over the lives of actors, let them be themselves. Maybe she learns.
Actors are like, just people.
I shouldn't obsess over these people. They're just me.
Yeah.
Except they struggle with this.
Yeah. I think that's good. And then his arc could be like, not forgiving his mother totally, but kind of like coming to terms with the relationship that he had with his mother, and like, moving on with his life. And maybe he like gets a second parrot.
Yeah,
for
that's how it shows that he's moved on.
Yeah, he starts his own family, and it's just two parrots, and they have a kid.
He makes films now.
Yeah, he makes films, but they're like Alan Smithy. He directs, but he doesn't want his name attached to it.
They're all romantic comedies.
Yes, they're all
Hallmark romantic comedies.
I would love that if he was like a Lifetime director. That would be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my film. Or that's
what was it called again?
That's my show. Far from the Tree, because the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah, I got that.
It's fun. It's good. It's fun. It's not that good.
You should have that. That's what the intro should be.
The
show's called Far from the Tree. It's because the apple. It's far from. He's not similar to his mom. That's the idea.
The nut fell far from the acorn. Isn't that how it works?
Do you get it?
Yeah. Wait.
Do you get it?
Wait,
it just repeats. Do you get it until they get it, and then it stops.
Do you understand? And also, who would you want to cast as Leopold?
Timothy Chalamet.
That was who I was thinking too. Timothy Chalamet.
Mm-hmm.
Or because I think that this would be actually a very good choice for the role, Daniel Radcliffe, because he grew up his entire life.
I was joking about the Timothy Chalamet one. I was just because we always cast him.
Because he's great. He's got such a strong chin.
Yep, that's why.
Yeah, But Daniel Radcliffe, I think, would be really good for this role, just because he's...
It would be good to pick someone who actually suffers from these issues. What if we casted a child actor who's not famous and ruin their life?
Yes.
Like with the paparazzi and everything.
That's good.
For the show. You know what I mean?
That's good. I
then
agree.
the show would it'd be a paradox, or it would be hypocritical.
It would be like
it'd be doing what it's saying is bad.
It'd be like satire, but if we didn't understand sarcasm.
Yeah.
It'd be good.
And we're doing it on purpose.
We do it on purpose to ruin people's lives. That's good.
Yep.
I like it. Let's ruin a child's life with this show.
Yeah. That's a great idea. I think it's hilarious.
But thank you all for listening to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I've been your host, Charles Long, and with me as always has been my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, and gunner, Jacob Gloth. If you like what you heard here, and you want to hear more of it, you can find us on YouTube, at Spotify, at Apple Podcasts, and all the other podcasting apps. Please give us a like, subscribe, rate us, tell your friends, tell your family, put a 5-star review or a 0-star review. Just give us a review. I mean, I would appreciate it being higher than 0 stars, but to each their own. If you didn't like it, tell us. Let us know why.
Yep.
Maybe we can try and fix it. And listen to episode 100, which we recently released, and is quite good, if I do say so myself.
Yeah.
Thank you all, and goodbye.
Goodbye.